In this video, I have a math challenge for you. Can you find all the real solutions to this mega quadratic equation? So I would request you to pause this video and try this problem on your own. And let me know your solutions in the comment box. And then only unpause this video to see the complete solution. So what we have got here is this mega quadratic equation. Mega in the sense that we have a quadratic equation here and its power is also a quadratic equation. So if I break it down and call this base as a and this power as b, so what we have got is something like this: a raised to the power b equals to 1. So we have a condition like this or an equation like this. Now we need to think that what could be the possible values of a and b that satisfies this equation, right? What we need to think is the possible values of a and b which satisfies this equation. So look at the left hand side of this equation. What we have is a raised to the power b. And just by observing it, we can see at least three possible cases which will make this whole thing equals to 1. So for example, we know that any number raised to the power 0 is always 1, right? So case 1 would be a raised to the power 0. A raised to the power 0, that means b equals to 0, right? If I make b as 0 or equals to 0, then this whole thing will become 1, right? A raised to the power 0 is 1, which satisfies this equation and ultimately this equation. That means b equals to 0 means this x square minus 11x plus 30 equals to 0, right? So this was b, right? So that means if this whole thing becomes 0, so that satisfies this equation and the left hand side of the equation will be 1. So on solving this, you can see that this is a quadratic equation. Hence, we can get a maximum of 2 possible real solutions. Let's call them as x1 and x2. These are the 2 solutions. Now, what would be the second case? Now you can easily guess what would be the second case which satisfies this equation. That means when a is 1, we know that 1 raised to the power any number, right? 1 raised to the power any number is always 1. That means that is when a is equals to 1. If I put 1 in place of a, then it doesn't matter what the value of b is, it will always be 1 and it is always going to satisfy this equation and ultimately this equation, right? So that will be our second case. So that means we will solve a equals to 1, that means x square minus 5x plus 5 equals to 1, and we will get, again, because this is a quadratic equation, so we will get maximum of 2 real solutions, and let's call these solutions as x3 and x4 because we already have used x1 and x2. So these are the 2 cases which we can almost instantly think of. There is one more case that we need to be aware of. We should not miss that case, and that is our third case. That is when a is minus 1, when a is minus 1 raised to the power b. Now here there will be some restrictions over b because we know that this will yield 1 only when b is even number. B is even number. So, that means when a is -1, then b should be even number to satisfy the given equation. And ultimately, I mean to satisfy the given mega quadratic equation. That means when a equals to -1, in this case there is one restriction, that b should be even number, right. Then also, so its value will be 1. For example, -1 raised to the power 2 is 1, and -1 raised to the power 4 is also 1, right. So, that means here we are going to take a and we are going to equate with -1. So, that means x square minus 5x plus 5 equals to -1 will give again a maximum of 2 real solutions. Let us call them as x5 and x6. However, these solutions, now there are some restrictions. When we put these values in b, that means over here, this whole thing should be even number. So, on putting, so let us say b is what? This is x square minus 11x plus 30. So, when we put x5 in b, right, so x5 will be some number, right, some real number. If I put that real number in place of x, and if its value is even, then that will be, then this x5 will be the solution of this mega quadratic equation. Of course, x5 is already a solution of this equation, but for x5 to be the solution of mega quadratic equation also, this needs to satisfy this criteria of b being even, right. So, if either of these two solutions are satisfying this criteria, then they both will be solution of mega quadratic equation. If only one of them is satisfying this criteria, then only that solution which is satisfying this criteria will be the solution of mega quadratic equation. If none of them is satisfying this criteria of even number, b being even, then none of them will be the solution of mega quadratic equation. Remember, we intend to find the solutions of mega quadratic equation, this quadratic equation, right. Of course, x5 and x6, they will always be the solution of this equation, but this is just a part of this mega quadratic equation. So, for them x5 and x6 to be the solution of mega quadratic equation, it needs to satisfy this criteria of b being even. I hope I am clear now. So, let us see these cases one by one, and even at this stage you can pause this video and solve further to find all the possible real solutions for this mega quadratic equation. So, we will have a maximum of 6 possible real solutions for this mega quadratic equation. Now, let us see them one by one. So, case 1 is when b equals to 0. Case 1. That means when a raised to the power 0, I mean a raised to the power 0 is always 1. That means here b is 0, right. This is b, that means this was b, right. So, that is x square minus 11x plus 30 equals to 0. And we can solve this. There are two ways of solving this quadratic equation. One is by using quadratic formula. So, you can use quadratic formula, and the quadratic formula is so the possible values or the solutions of this is given by this formula, minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4 AC over 2A, right. So, either you can use this formula, or there is another way of solving this, and that is called factor method or factorization method. I am going to use this method. You can use either of these methods. So, let us factorize it. We need to split this middle term. So, the next step will be x square. So, we can split it into minus 5 and minus 6, yes. So, minus 5x minus 6x. So, sum of minus 5x and minus 6x is minus 11x, and product of minus 5x and minus 6x is 30x square, which is the product of first and last term. That is how we split, right, the middle term into two terms like this, plus 30 equals to 0. X is a common factor in the first two terms. So, let us take it out. So, x inside bracket we will have x from here and minus 5 from the second term. In the last two terms, minus 6 is a factor. So, take it out. So, here we will get we are left with x, and this will become minus 5, right, equals to 0. Now, we have two terms, and x minus 5 is common factor in these two terms. So, just take it out, x minus 5. Inside bracket x minus 6 is left, this is equals to 0. So, basically we have converted the given expression into its factor form. So, we have got two factors of this expression. That is why it is called factor method, right, or factorization method. Now, so we have two factors equals to 0. So, it can, so this left hand side will be 0 when either x minus 5 is 0 or x minus 6 is 0. So, from here what we can get, so we will get two values of x. So, when x minus 5 is 0 or x minus 6 is 0, right. So, from here what we will get is x equals to 5, and this will yield x equals to 6. So, we have got two solutions. So, case 1 has given us two values of x, and these two values are the solutions or the real solutions of mega quadratic equation. Let us call them as x1 and x2. So, let us, just for convenience, this is x1 and this one is x2, right. So, we have got two solutions. Now, similarly we can find the solutions of case for the case 2, and case 2 is when a is 1, right, because if a is 1 then also this condition is satisfied. So, when, let me write this case 2, case 2. Case 2 is when, that means 1 raised to the power b will always be 1, right. That is when a is 1. So, which means what is a? This base is a, that means x square minus 5x plus 5 equals to 1. This is a quadratic equation. However, it is not written in standard form. We need to convert it, we need to write it in a standard form. So, subtract 1 from both the sides, what we will get is x square minus 5x plus 4 equals to 0. Now, this is in standard form, and again we are going to use factor method to find the solutions of this equation, of this quadratic equation. So, this can be written as x square, we need to split this, right. So, it will be minus 1 and minus 4, right. So, minus 1x minus 4x plus 4 equals to 0. So, when we add these two terms, it is minus 5x. When we multiply these two terms, it is 4x square, product of first and last term. So, the next step will be, so from the first two terms, x is a common factor. What we will left with is x minus 1, and from the last two terms, minus 4 is a common factor, and we will left with x minus 1 equals to 0. So, the next step will be, so see, x minus 1 is a common factor from these two terms now. So, x minus 1, and inside bracket we will be left with x and minus 4, x minus 4 equals to 0. Now, that means either x minus 1 is 0 or x minus 4 is 0. Now, if x minus 1 is 0, then x will be 1, right. So, this is one of the solutions for this quadratic equation or this one. And when x minus 4 is 0, so that will give x equals to 4. So, this is another solution for the case 2, right. Let us call them as x2. So, the value of x3, because we have already assigned x2, right. So, x3 and x4. So, x3 is 1 and x4 is 4. So far from these two cases, we have got 4 real solutions for this mega quadratic equation. Now, let us see the third case, and the third case was this, that when a is negative 1, in that case b should be even number, right. So, case 3, let me write it here. Case 3 is when a is negative 1 raised to the power b, right. So, here b should be even number. So, here a is negative 1, that means x square minus 5x plus 5 equals to negative 1, and convert it into standard form first. So, for that add 1 both the sides. So, x square minus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. Now, split the middle term. What we will get is x square minus 3x minus 2x plus 6 equals to 0, right. So, minus 3 and minus 2, add them, minus 5x, and multiply them. So, that will give 6x square, right. So, we can see that from the first two terms, x is the common factor, we are left with x minus 3, and in the last two term minus 2 is the common factor, and we will be left with x minus 3 equals to 0. So, x minus 3 is the common factor in these two terms. So, x minus 3, and inside bracket x and minus 2 will be there, equals to 0. So, now we know that either x minus 3 is 0 or x minus 2 is 0. So, if x minus 3 is 0, then the value of x will be 3, right. And if x minus 2 is 0, then the value of x will be 2, right. So, again we have got two real solutions. So, 3 and 2 are the solutions of this quadratic equation. So, without any doubt we can say that 3 and 2, they are the solutions of this quadratic equation. However, whether they are solutions of mega quadratic equation or not, that depends on this condition, right. So, if I put this 3 in b is this x square minus 11x plus 30, and if this whole thing becomes even number, then we will consider 3 as solution of this equation, this mega quadratic equation, and similarly we will check for 2 also whether it is solution of mega quadratic equation or not. So, for now let us call this as x5, This is the fifth solution and this is the sixth solution. However, we will check whether they are solution of mega quadratic equation or not. So first let's use x equals to 3 in B. So what we have is so B is what? X square minus 11x plus 30, right? And we are going to put x as 3 here. So that means 3 squared minus 11 times 3 plus 30. So 3 is 9 minus 33 plus 30, right? So that means 9 and minus 3, so which is 6, and 6 is even number. 6 is even. Hence, we can say that this x5, 3 is solution of this mega quadratic equation, right? And what about x6? I mean this 2. Let us check for this also. So again, what we have is x square minus 11x plus 30. So put 2 in place of x and check whether it satisfies this condition of even number or not. So that means 2 squared minus 11 times 2 plus 30. So it will be 4 minus 22 plus 30. 4 plus 8, which is 12, right? 12 is again what? Even number, right? So 12 is even. That means it is satisfying this condition of B being even. That means this is also a solution of this mega quadratic equation. So finally, we have got 6 solutions for given mega quadratic equation. So final result. So let's put it down here, our final solutions. So we have 6 real solutions. We have 6 real solutions. Now, what are these 6 real solutions? Let me recheck. So we have 5, 6, then 1, 4, and 3, 2. So these solutions are 5, 6, 1, 4, 3, 2. I mean, you can rearrange them in a different order also. So you can write it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, these are the solutions of given quadratic equation. In fact, these are the solutions of given mega quadratic equation. So I hope you have understood the process and the method that we have used in this problem. Now, using similar approach, can you find all the real solutions to this mega quadratic equation? And let me know your solutions in the comment box. Now I will see you in the next video with another challenging problem. Till then, take care. Bye bye.